Damien's a hateful man because he wouldn't have let the kids, move in front of him, even though you could still see over top of him plenty easy. So
yeah.
I was a nice guy.
He did good. And dressed in all red.
What is up, everybody? Season 4, episode 8 of No Sauce with Kyle and John. And maybe we need to just throw Danny in the title. I think we might just have to, since he's been on here for...
Well, Kyle, it depends on how long he sticks around for. If it's just through college football, then we can't go renaming the show without.
I like it. No, I like it. I like it because I want to get into some college basketball. So yeah, no, I appreciate it. This is y'all's show. I just like being here.
Maybe it should be like No Sauce with Kyle and John with a Danny in the mix or something like that. I don't know. We got to figure out a name. Maybe I'll chat GPT that and see what we come up with.
It's all right.
Yeah, we should trust Chat GPT, Kyle. 100%.
Hey, you never know. It could come up with something. You never know. You could throw it out there.
Dude, I'm telling you, AI is the most ridiculous thing in the world. I got to pull this up real quick. And
just getting started too, man. That's just getting started.
Dude, so my son sent me a text. Where'd it go? He's like, I'm sitting in class and I just quickly Googled this, and this is what came up. It says BYU and Texas Tech have played each other 3 times, with Texas Tech leading the series 2-1. Their most recent game was on November 8th, 2025, with BYU winning 43-20.
Wait, November? Did you say November 28th, 2025?
Yeah, the game is this Saturday. Yeah.
Well, didn't they play last year in Provo, or was it 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago. Yeah. And BYU won 27-14, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it predicted that the game's going to be 43-20 this Saturday, but saying that it's already happened. So
that's a big 30-point swing because BYU's 10.5-point underdogs right now. Last I saw.
Mm-hmm.
So wow, that's large.
That is a big number.
Large.
Yeah, that's
a big number.
But the good news is I hear LJ Martin is going to be playing this weekend, so that's a big boost for the Cougars. Maybe
if it hasn't been reflected yet, Kyle, or changed yet, you should take that. You should take the points, take the spread.
See, here's the thing, though. If I ever bet my own teams, they always tend to screw me that way, right? They beat me the wrong way. And that's what happened with Utah Valley basketball last year.
Mm-hmm.
Is I always picked against them, and they always won, right? So, no, I'm not gonna touch it. I'm just gonna enjoy that 10 a.m. kick. I can't believe it's at 10 a.m. It still bothers me.
That's crazy.
Mountain time kickoff.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler are
calling the game. Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
Move it to 1:30 or 5:30. This is a top 10 matchup.
Good for Herbie, man. He finally gets to call a game where he's at game. He doesn't have to jump on a plane and ride a motorcycle across town.
He's going to get some rest on Saturday night because he doesn't have to be anywhere. So
exactly.
Yeah. He can just be like the rest of the AP voters and selection committee members and all that. Don't even pay attention to the afternoon games because job's done, right?
Let's go with that.
Yeah, sure.
Speaking of the voters, the playoff rankings came out tonight. First playoff ranking of the season came out tonight.
Yeah.
And BYU 7, Texas Tech is 8. And they play each other on Saturday morning. And Danny has some thoughts on that. He was texting me about the rankings. I'm sure you do too. I think the biggest one for me, and I'll start this segment off.
Yeah, you go.
The biggest one for me, I think, and Danny and me were talking about this. Danny and I were talking about this. Let me be grammatically correct, just so if BJ Ferguson is listening, I'm grammatically correct there. Danny and I were talking. I think Indiana should be 1 over Ohio State because Indiana has better wins than Ohio State does. And they're 9-0. They're the only 9-0 team in college football. So give them, the benefit of the doubt there. They went on the road and beat Oregon. I think the only good win that Ohio State has so far is beating Texas at home to start the season. So I think Indiana should be 1. But Ohio State, I think John's mentioned it. It's that big name, right? That's Ohio State. Like and they're not even going to play each other in the regular season. They won't play until the Big Ten championship. So that'll be interesting. And Indiana has to go to Penn State this week. That was their toughest game remaining on their schedule, and now I think they're 20-point favorites going into College Station, or not College Station, Happy Valley, right?
Yeah. Indiana should not lose the rest of the way out. I mean,
they shouldn't, but you never know. There could be that slip up, but they shouldn't. We all agree with that.
Shouldn't. Yeah.
Shouldn't is keyword. The rest of it, I mean, it is what it is. The SEC, 4 teams in the top 6. It is what it is. Texas took a huge leap by beating Vandy. I don't get that, because Vandy is okay. Like, they're a good football team, but they haven't been great, and they haven't had great quarterback play, right? I don't know. Like, I feel like if BYU loses this weekend, kind of like Georgia Tech did, on the road at NC State, where they got beat up pretty bad, I think BYU could have that big drop too, just because people say, well, who have they played up until now, right? Even though they beat Utah and they went to Iowa State and beat Iowa State, but the Iowa State win doesn't look better now because Arizona State went and blasted Iowa State last weekend. So it's
still just got to win the Big 12.
Well, here's the thing.
You can control your own destiny here.
With how the rankings are set up, I don't think BYU's in that bad of a spot. If they do lose, assuming it's a somewhat respectable loss this week, as long as it's not like a 30, 40-point blowout, I don't see BYU dropping below the 12 spot, because I think of where they've got Utah, they've got the head-to-head matchup, you've got that they can use. You see them slotting a lot of teams from the same conferences together because of hypotheticals. I think you've got the 4 SEC teams there between 3 and 6, where, Oklahoma and Texas both play Georgia and Alabama this week. If both those teams go down, I think that's why they've got Texas and Oklahoma right there, because that should help boost them to kind of keep them in that top 10 spot, so that the SEC gets 3 or 4 into the playoff, assuming, certain things happen. Bama and Georgia could win this week, and then we see Oklahoma and Texas drop, potentially bringing Utah up to 11, which then if BYU loses, maybe they only drop 2 spots because, well, it was such a closely ranked game. And again, as long as the loss is respectable, there's not that far of a decline. But again, we've been fooled before, but based on how they have this set up right now, I don't see a 1-loss BYU dropping below Utah.
I beg to differ. And the reason I say that, even though they have the head-to-head win, the way Utah's beating people right now, I mean, that's why
you gotta take into account their loss.
Late loss.
But you got to take into account their home loss to the same Texas Tech team.
Sure.
Okay, they got obliterated at home. We're at least going on the road, top 10 matchup. As long as the game's respectable, there's no way we drop below a Utah. No way. And yes, they are. They are blowing out teams. Good for the University of Utah. But they're not going to drop a 1-loss BYU below them.
This college football ranking system for the playoff, not for the poll, not for the AP poll and all that stuff.
No, I know.
For the college football playoff rankings, this is where how bad you beat teams comes into play. 100%.
Or how bad you don't beat teams.
I don't agree, because if you look at it, BYU does not have a huge blowout win week after week like Texas Tech does, and Texas Tech has that 1 loss.
It's going to hurt more than a win like that compared to Utah beating Arizona State by 30 plus and beating Colorado by 60 and beating Cincinnati by 40. Like that's where it's going to come into play.
Yeah. Well, I think if there's a 2-loss and a 2-loss,
I know from basketball and watching what they've said about the rankings, how you win can impact where you end up compared to a loss, because those losses are going to hurt significantly more than a 14-point win over a bad Iowa State team.
Yeah, but I think the committee is they're certainly taking some of that into account, but I also see them ranking teams that still have a shot to make their conference championship. They're not going to drop a BYU that far down as long as they're still in the driver's seat to get to that conference championship game.
Okay.
So they're go ahead.
Well, we're going to go back to this Notre Dame argument that we had after week 2, where they stayed in the top 25, right?
Yep.
So they lost at Miami by 3, right? Miami needed a late score to win that game. Then they lost in I can't remember if it's overtime or just regulation by 1 to Texas A&M, who's undefeated, and in that, what is it, 3 spot right now? And then
should be in a 2 spot.
Then they won by 26 versus Purdue. They won by 43 over Arkansas. They won by 21 over Boise State. They won by 29 over NC State. They beat USC by 10, right? And they got by Boston College. I don't know if they were sleepwalking through that, whatnot, but the reason they're there is because they blew out teams after they lost those close games. That's what I'm saying is BYU is winning games, but are they the 8th best team in the country based off of how they're winning games?
Right now, they're the 7th best team in the country.
See in a little bit of this as these last 4 games play out.
Yeah.
That's what I don't want to see BYU drop below Utah. They shouldn't, because they beat him head to head, right? And they have 1 fewer loss.
But again, I don't think it's I don't think that there's enough there to say, oh, BYU went on the road to play arguably the best team in the Big 12, or else they would have already had Texas Tech and BYU flip-flopped. Okay, they're not going to have BYU ahead of Texas Tech, who realistically they only lost to Arizona State because Sam Leavitt decided to come back and play that game before he got re-injured, right? Like, with the quality of wins that they have and how they've been blowing out teams. I mean, if you look at what they've done, let's pull them up here.
So I'm going to point at Utah, okay? I want to talk about Utah real quick. Beat UCLA by 33. Cal Poly, obviously, FCS school, they beat by 54, right? Beat Wyoming up on the High Plains by 25. Lost to Texas Tech at home. Go on the road, beat West Virginia by 34 points. Beat Arizona State by 32 points. Lose to BYU. Beat Colorado by 46 points. And then beat a ranked Cincinnati by 31 points. You compare that to what BYU's done in their wins outside of that opening win against Portland State. Have they really blown anybody out like Utah has?
No,
that's what I'm saying. We're going to look at that and determine things, right? Like, I don't want to be negative towards BYU. They control their own destiny. They got to win. That's all they got to do.
Here's what I have a problem with the college football, the selection show today is they talked about metrics and all this stuff, and it doesn't matter about how window dressing until they got to like the top 3.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, they're number 1 because, it's all about optics. Yeah. So like, it's got to be one way or the other, right? Well, like it just seems like we're going back and forth about like, yeah, you've got these numbers and that should matter. But wait a minute, when it comes to those, this team is it holds more than the optics. Like they, what are we doing there? That's what aggravates me about it early on, especially.
Well, and the other thing is, like, does anybody know what the metrics are that they're using? Because I don't think there's any transparency that they've shown.
A couple of guys seemed like they knew, but
they talked about strength of schedule, strength of record, but it's like if you were going off of that, Indiana or even Texas A&M should be 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're not. And here's the thing: I'm okay. Like, I'm 100% okay with the rankings and how they came out this week. Okay, frustrated that there's 4 SEC teams sitting there, but
but that's going to work itself out.
I get why the committee kind of lumped those together. I feel like they lumped the Indiana and Ohio State, and I think in that committee room they were probably sitting there saying, Ohio State's the defending national champion. They've won convincingly in just about every game. Why should we bump them from there? The two teams are going to play each other at the end of the season anyways. That'll work itself out.
See, and I agree with that because they're the defending national champions. Nobody has knocked them off.
There's got to be some merit to
Off
that.
their perch, they should be number one, period.
Yeah.
In past things, but not if you're going to argue this metric shit. That's all I'm saying. I agree with that, dude. If you're number one, you're defending national champs, you don't lose, you should be number one. I agree with that, but that's not the way they're setting it up. Go ahead, John.
But yeah, and then I go back to everything else where in that selection show, it was frustrating sitting there hearing them just almost to say like, hey, who's going to be the fourth team from the Big Ten? Have we already predetermined that the Big Ten should have 4 teams? Have we already predetermined that the SEC should have a 4th and a 5th team? How is that?
Well, I'm trying to figure out who they think there's going to be a 4th team from the Big Ten. There's only 3 teams in the top 25.
So what they're saying is that
USC, USC are both
even
there,
Michigan.
Dude.
Michigan has 2 losses, but they only have 1 conference loss. If they beat Ohio State, then then they could potentially be in the Big Ten championship game and find themselves in. So like there's a lot that could still happen. Oregon, I hope that they kind of figure things out and they can win the rest of the way out, or else they'll drop out. But then beyond that, who else from the Big Ten as of right now deserves a spot?
I don't think USC, Iowa, Michigan, or Washington can make that significant of a move, can they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Washington's going to play Oregon the last game of the year. So as long as they have stuff happen in front of them, and Oregon continues to win games, that could be a very big game and rivalry weekend that could launch Washington. Like, I hope that don't happen, obviously.
This weekend is I feel like an elimination game in a sense because Oregon's at Iowa.
Yeah, so, if Oregon loses this week, they're out. They're done.
They're not losing this weekend.
But Kyle, I do think that there's a way that they make it up because I go back to those 4 SEC or those 6 SEC teams: Texas, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Georgia, Alabama, and Texas A&M. Okay, Georgia still has to play Texas and Georgia Tech.
Yes.
Okay, those two. If let's just say Georgia runs the table, well, there's 2 teams out of like a Michigan's way to pop up or a USC's way to pop up. Alabama just has to play Oklahoma. They've got LSU this week, which that program's in a downward spiral, so I don't foresee any issues there. They have Eastern Illinois. Like, okay, I won't get into that rant, but it should be illegal for a Power 4, Power 5 conference team to schedule a high school game your second to last week of the year. That's ridiculous, okay? But anyways, Texas A&M has to play Missouri and Texas. Okay, Texas, Oklahoma, I don't see them winning. I see them losing. I think they're out. So, like, we've already between Georgia Tech, Texas, Oklahoma, Ole Miss still has to play the Citadel.
Can't win to be. Yeah,
who is this? Okay, the other rant that I will say real quick.
They don't play 9 conference games.
They don't. Okay, but I will say this. What I extremely dislike about how some conferences have things set up, rivalry games should be played the last week of the year. Okay, Michigan, Oregon State, or Michigan, Ohio State, love it. Ole Miss is playing Mississippi that last week. Georgia plays Georgia Tech. I know they're not in the same conference. That's an in-state rivalry. Bama plays Auburn. Love that. Anything can happen there. So if we're looking at those Big Ten teams, yeah, there's certainly something that could happen.
Oregon,
but those Big Ten teams still need to go win. And Notre Dame, here's the kicker, Kyle. Pitt still has to play a number of good teams that they could upset a lot of teams. They could ruin a lot of people's schedules. They had to play Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami. If they come away with those 3 wins, they're into the college football playoff.
It's not beating Notre Dame. Not a chance. Not a chance.
It's a home game for Pitt.
Doesn't matter. Notre Dame
No.
is just that much better than Pitt.
Notre Dame's playing good football right now, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're playing good football, but against who?
I mean, when you're blasting teams after the only 2 games against the top 10 teams you lost close games to.
But no, again, let's be serious. Let's go through a list. Who are they blasting? Purdue?
It doesn't
Are they
matter.
relevant?
They're better
No.
than Pitt, period.
I
They're 100% better, and they're not going to lose at Pitt.
I'm calling it now. That game is going to be a lot closer than you expect
No.
there, Kyle.
So here,
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, we've got, the projected top 12 where we're at right now. 6 of these teams aren't going to be there at the end, right? Like, I mean, that's just the truth of it, right? All these teams got to play each other. I think it's an accurate. I don't think Tech should be ahead of Oregon. I think they should be ahead of them, but that's going to work itself out. Whatever. I'm okay with Oregon being where they're at because they haven't proved themselves when they need to prove themselves. The Wisconsin game last week. I mean, that's hard to tell. That was a torrential downpour. There wasn't a lot of. I mean, those fast dudes ain't running around. That was a rough environment to play in. But fact of the matter is Oregon's got to do better, and they got to get it going. And I think they will moving forward. But yeah, I'm good with where they're at. I think BYU deserves to be where they're at. I mean, they're 8-0. They deserve to be in the driver's seat for their conference. They just once again. You just got to go win football games. There's a lot of games to be left. I mean, Oregon still got Iowa, USC, and Washington on their schedule. USC and Washington are.
Well, don't count out Minnesota, the Golden Gophers. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, they got that practice too. So I mean, yeah, it should be fun. But there's a lot. Like I said, this is our first rankings, so I think it's going to shake it out. And I think BYU. It's going to be nice to see them in the 12-team playoff, and as long as they go beat Texas Tech, I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's amazing to me what they've done these last 2 years. What are they? 19-2 in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
and I know, okay, they're not playing the SEC schedule or the Big Ten schedule, but let's have some respect for some teams out there.
Well, I mean, we're talking about you're going into the season with a quarterback that you had that was going to give you high hopes, and dude jumped into it. It's like, who's number 47, dude? Where'd that guy come from? That obviously, and then the significance.
Equipment guys, you got him the wrong jersey.
Yeah, exactly. The significance of 47 with BYU and all that stuff. That's crazy. That's like sports written stuff. Like you could have made that up at the beginning of the season, and good for them. And I hope they're able to ride that momentum. It's just it's almost one of those things. You do have a freshman quarterback. You're like, man, you get into those big games. Hope he just doesn't do freshman things. And I hope it plays itself out. So they're
to be honest, he really hasn't. Like, he doesn't turn the ball over.
No, I know.
I mean, he had the one fumble against Arizona on Arizona's 2-yard line that his offensive lineman recovered.
Kyle Svarchuk, shout out.
But outside of that, man,
As a stud.
It's he's been good with taking care of the football, and that's what's kept him in games. And then he throws for 300 plus yards against Iowa State.
Yep.
Like, he's doing what he needs to do to keep BYU in ball games.
Yes.
I find it ridiculous at this point in the season what he's done, that he's not mentioned at all in the Heisman discussions.
Don't say the Heisman.
No, I'm going to throw it out there because you have somebody in what is it? Diego Pavia, is that his name?
Vandy.
For Vanderbilt, and he's the talk of the town. But through the first 8 games, very similar stats. And as a true freshman,
Very
nonetheless,
wins too.
So I don't know how he doesn't get some discussion. If we come away out of Lubbock with a win this week, and he's not mentioned in that conversation,
I think he does. I mean, if he does, so I mean, he's a freshman, right? So historically, the Heisman, people aren't looking at freshmen, right? Obviously Mansell, that's a different deal, right? So he's going to have one of those what they call Heisman moments, right? So he's going to have to go into Lubbock, maybe down 8 with 6 minutes to go, and come out with a 2-point win or something like that, right? So that will launch him into the Heisman discussion, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. But I mean, yeah. It should be a fun one though. 10 a.m. kickoff
Yeah.
mountain time. Oof.
There's still part of me that wants to make the 13-hour drive, Kyle.
Yeah, good luck with that. I ain't driving no 13
Do
hours.
it. Hey, wait, you couldn't even make the drive to Provo or up to President's
hold on.
Circle. I mean,
President
hey,
Circle, I will hands up. I totally forgot that we were
Yeah,
doing
thanks,
that.
dude.
And it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I was like, I'm already in bed.
I went to bed at that same time, bro.
I went to bed. We went to
Cool story.
SmackDown the night before. I got to bed at midnight, and Damien's dumbass woke me up with some college thing on his phone at like 3:30, and was like,
Yeah.
"Kyle's on his way," and Kyle wasn't
He
even
woke
on
you
his
up
way.
with a Texas fight song on his phone.
Yes,
I felt so good laying in bed, I'll be honest. Like, and it was great just sitting
It was
watching
really
it.
cool. It wasn't too bad actually. It was good.
When I left that you guys were
Danny had
right
good
there.
spots. I had a good spot for that kick, and
yeah,
it was
Yeah.
good.
had a great
It was
spot
real good.
Did you guys not hang out the whole time together, or like did you split up and go to your different
No,
sections?
I went over and they were behind one of the stages,
Yeah.
and I went over and secured a spot right there at the little gate or the little fencing area for the kick, so I could be
Okay.
like front row. So
Kyle really needed something to lean on at
I
the time.
did.
So I think
my back wasn't gonna hold up
that's
the
where it
stand
started. Yeah.
so long. So
He's like, I'm gonna be over here. And then it was like, cool, you're gonna post up there, I'm gonna post up here. And then, as things started to fill in and whatever, it was like, I'm not leaving this spot because
yeah.
we got people coming on this stage. And then Kyle was like, there's 19-year-olds pushing me out of the way. And it was like, no, do they have a forklift? Like, how are they moving you out of the way? Like, post up, hold on to the fence. Dang it, Kyle.
And then
Right here. Give me the ball. Give me the ball.
Guy. That was a nice guy. When they finally did come over to do the kick, there was a family right behind me, and the kids couldn't see over the adults, and so I like told them, "Here, you come stand right in front of me so that you can see what's going on." And Damien's a hateful man because he wouldn't have let the kids, move in front of him, even though you could still see over top of him plenty easy. So
Yeah.
I was a nice guy.
He did good. And dressed in all red. The Kool-Aid man couldn't even go dressed in blue.
Oh yeah.
I was dressed in red, so I will admit that. I'll take the heat for that one. I, never dressed in red, so it is what it is. But it was a good time.
No, it was
Awesome.
it was a great time. It was a great time. Kind of a crazy ride to be on 3 shows within a month. So yeah,
the best sign of the day, and they kept showing it to you. Probably saw it, John.
Moms for McAfee.
Moms for McAfee, and it had a bra.
It didn't have a bra at the beginning. It was just Moms
Kyle
for McAfee.
took his off and like provided it for them to put on the thing.
No, because my sports bra wouldn't have fit. It would have been too big.
It wasn't a sports bra. You had that lacy pink thing.
There was some tickle bitties that were inside that bra early in the morning, and it was just a sign. And then before we went on air, that got put on there, and that was
funny. He kept referencing. I think he took a picture of it.
He referenced it a couple times. He's like, and apparently there's moms for McAfee out there. I got you, ladies.
It was so funny too how much he egged on the BYU Utah rivalry as well.
Yeah,
constantly. Not just him. It wasn't just him. I mean, that Desmond. I mean, Coach. Yeah, everybody was bringing it up.
It was hilarious watching that whole broadcast because when it was on screen, there was like no attention in the grand scheme of things paid attention to Utah. Like they did a puff piece about about Cincinnati. They did a puff piece about the Ohio State band girl that got to dot the I, and then they did like a little piece about the who was it from Utah that led the little cheer thing?
I can't remember his first name, but yeah.
How about the helmet deal, dude? That was
the helmet deal, but like about the actual players and like other than like the little interview thing with Kyle Whittingham, like there was nothing.
I think because they didn't think Utah was going to win that game at all. I don't think they thought that for a second.
No, but then like when they brought up the Big 12, who's the best? And then Nick Saban at the end was like, it's okay. You guys kind of have a chance still. Like it was
The
just
thing is, look,
hilarious sitting home.
they, like Pat said, there could be a Holy War Big 12 championship. It could happen.
So I posted that on Twitter. I was like, it would be amazing if BYU won out, Utah won out, and here's where it gets even crazier, Kyle. If things work out and they make it to the Big 12 championship, BYU should purposely lose so that Utah wins and gets into the college football playoff. And then we meet back up in the Natty
Yeah, that's not gonna happen
for the
but
third
it's
time
a good
in
dream.
one season.
That's
you
the most
imagine-
ridiculous shit you've ever said, John.
Could you imagine how insane
No, there's
this
no way.
state would be? It would literally,
That
the
might
state
be
would be
my
on fire.
That
No.
statement right there might be
It
the
would
viral
be
moment that the No
On
Sauce podcast
fire.
is looking for.
No.
That is
BYU
all
Utah
happened.
3 times in one season.
Yeah, hey
It'd
Kalani,
be amazing.
if you're playing Utah in the Big 12 championship, my buddy here says you should lose so that you and Utah get into the playoff, and then maybe you should just win.
Nah.
You guys play in the national championship. Like that would be no.
Whoever loses that game might not be in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
that's
if
ridiculous.
you have an undefeated BYU get into the college football or get into that championship game, they're making the college football playoff. No ifs, ands, buts about it. Like
Maybe depends on what they do in these next 4 games.
Depends on what happens
Kyle, if
elsewhere.
they go
also.
undefeated the rest of the season, they would be 12 and 0.
They go undefeated. If they lose though this Saturday, and let's say they lose at Cincinnati when they play there, and then they lose in the Big 12 championship, they're not going to the playoff.
Then Kyle, my hypothetical situation wouldn't then happen.
Undefeated.
My hypothetical situation was they run undefeated.
Of that hypothetical situation,
Kyle, you're ruining the funny hypothetical that could be amazing.
We already had the viral moment. We're gonna clip what you said about that possibility of playing each other a third time, and that is going to go viral. I'm 100% sure about that because anyways,
has that ever happened in modern era when there's like the regular season, conference championship, and in the playoff?
Well,
has that ever happened?
No.
Didn't Alabama and Georgia play in a?
Yeah, you got to realize it was a 4-team playoff up to this point, man.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
But
3 times in one season.
Playoff though, Alabama and Georgia played in the SEC championship, and I think Alabama won.
They played the national championship.
Georgia beat them in the national championship.
Yep.
Vice versa, one of the two. So that's happened before, but I don't think we've seen it 3 times in one season. I don't think.
I'm just saying, how awesome would that be? I don't think the state of Utah can handle.
We would have to have the fall of college football happen for that to happen.
Dude, the Big Ten, the SEC's minds would just be blown.
They just all implode like ineligible players. They get disqualified.
Here's the thing, though, too. I think
it's like the robots on Austin Powers.
Utah still needs a ton of help to get to the Big 12 championship.
Oh, they do. They do. There was somebody that put out a spreadsheet, like a flow chart of what has to happen for Utah to make it. Their best chance is for BYU to win out. They need BYU to go and win every single game.
They need Texas Tech to lose.
Well, Texas Tech would lose to us, and then
they'd have to have Texas Tech lose again because Texas Tech has the head-to-head win over Utah.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up here. It was pretty fun.
Both Texas Tech and Utah end with 2 losses. Are the only 2 lost teams in the Big 12. Texas Tech would get in because they beat Utah head-to-head. That's the tiebreaker.
You would hope so. Like they come up with some jacked up tiebreakers, though. Like look at college baseball.
True,
dude. It's crazy what the Big 12 rules are. It's like you look at head-to-head, then you look at their results against
common opponents. Common opponents is the thing, right?
And then it just goes on from there. And then it's like who sold the most brownies at the bake sale. And
baseball's stupid like that. Like I don't even understand some of the baseball brackets, but
it's crazy. I mean, but it'll be interesting. Like I said, BYU's just got to win and they're in, right? And that's it. That's it. Win and they're in.
That's what it comes down to, man. Winning football games, just winning. You're in. Like I said, I mean, if you're John, I agree with you. I mean, if you're 12-0 going into the Big 12 championship game,
no matter what happens,
you lose a well, especially you lose a decent game, you don't just get boat raised, right?
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
depending on what's
Well, I
going on
mean,
behind you, I think you're sitting
here's
pretty
the
good at
problem.
that point. But the problem is, like I said, at the bottom, what happens for your other top 5 conference champions, which once again, ACC, I said was going to be better than the Big 12. I'm tragically wrong. But they're
told you
going to
that,
end
but
up. I
much love.
know. I'm admitting it, John. Just anyways. So, but they're going to end up in the playoff, right? Whether it's a 25th, ranked team, whatever. So that's gonna, if BYU does get in or lose a Big 12 championship game, and then they end up around that 10 spot. It depends what happens
Well,
behind them.
and that's the part from tonight's broadcast that I know Reese Davis doesn't make any of the rules and they'll have their opinions, but the comment he made was like, well, Ohio State and Indiana meet in the Big Ten championship.
1-2.
Regardless of the outcome, they're still 1-2. And I'm like,
No,
I
disagree.
was like,
No.
like you can't, like if you
That-
lose your conference championship,
If they're saying that, it's the same as college basketball conference tournaments, right? Where
yeah,
if you're going to say that they're still 1-2 despite the outcome, whatever, the Big Ten championship, where you just disregard what happens there, right?
That's yeah.
It's the same. Then you'd have to do the same with the basketball tournaments, the conference basketball tournaments, because those should be meaningless for most conferences, right? At least the power
which makes it meaningless. And
Right.
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but to have a team that, like for instance, goes undefeated, makes it to the conference championship, loses, and to kick them out of the college football playoff, no, you
I don't
can't do
agree with that. No, absolutely, I don't agree with that either.
Bump
Right?
them
Like,
down.
that's what they did
Bump
with
them
Florida
down.
State a couple years ago when Florida State's quarterback got hurt.
but that was that was a different playoff system. That
was 4 teams,
yeah.
and they took his injury into account,
Yeah,
which
So,
I think is garbage. You shouldn't take those injuries into
But
account
isn't there
to
another
determine
team that
futuristic.
they have in the rankings right now that quarterback is hurt, and they're taking that not into consideration of where they're ranked?
I don't know if they are or not.
Hey, man,
Texas A&M's quarterback is hurt.
Yes,
but
so
they're still 3.
Yeah, I know, because again, they're still saying that the Big Ten is the top
but
dogs.
that's back to optics, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so we were going off metrics before, like all the way up to the top 5. It was all about metrics. That's all Joey Galloway kept saying, dude. Metrics,
I hate that guy. Can I just
right?
tell you how annoying he is?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've wanted to backhand him for years, but I mean, he's metrics, which is a good argument, but then you completely abandon that when we get to the top 5. Like, oh no, okay, now it's about the optics. Now they're undefeated. They're the defending national champs, which once again, I agree with that. But I mean, the ignorant comment, if you have Indiana and Ohio State playing the Big Ten championship game and they're still 1-2 no matter what, A&M's undefeated, and you're telling me that they're not number 2?
And they win the SEC championship? Yeah,
they should be number 1 right now, metrically speaking. They should be the number 1 team in the country. I feel Indiana is the best team in the country, not just because they beat Oregon, but that's a big win in Autzen Stadium. I think they've proved the most as a program, and I think A&M is right on their heels, and I think Ohio State's number 3 as far as the rankings should be concerned.
What I dislike is how they are very selective on those shows, very selective on the selection show.
Good job.
On what numbers and stuff they show on the screens. They showed like numbers for Texas Tech, their strength of schedule and strength of record. Didn't show BYU's, and it's like you should be comparing those, like a 7 and an 8. Like compare them, show them, because BYU's strength of schedule right now is like 40 something, 43rd or something like that, but their strength of record is number 5. Moving forward, I think they have the 25th hardest schedule remaining because they've got TCU, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, and then a cupcake walk UCF at the end of the season. But like they've got another 3 difficult weeks to go. But if they make it through that, like people should know when like these teams are ranked up there, like why they're ranked there. And I wish I saw it on Twitter earlier today that they should make a Netflix special after the season's over that includes the discussions that the selection committee has and how they came to what their rankings were. Give us some insight into what those discussions are, because it's just like the NBA draft lottery. How do we know that that's legit? We don't, because it's all done behind closed doors and we never get any view. Just because you post a 10-second video of middle-aged white guys taking their hat off and putting on a coat rack and going into the room doesn't mean that we trust all the discussions that are going on in there.
Well, I
Give us some
mean,
insight.
I understand where you're going with that, but here's the problem I have with that. Like, it's just human nature. If you're able to have private discussions, you're gonna give your most honest opinion more often than not. If you're being recorded or people are going under a microscope, your opinions are gonna change because people are weak. So they're
Mhm.
not gonna give their honest opinion if they're going to be recorded and judged by people in the future. Whereas you put that stuff behind closed doors. That's why they have blind ballots and things like that, right? So you're not people's opinions aren't judged by the opinions of others. You're able to just give your honest opinion. So
But
I
that's the
agree
one
with
thing
that.
that's the one thing I do like about the AP poll, though, is that we get to see who the voters are and where they put people.
Yeah,
And it gives us a chance to analyze that. I want to see each of the 12 committee members where they put everybody, so we
I
can
think
see and be like, hey,
I agree with that. No, I agree. That's different than putting a camera on them while they're having their discussions. I
no
absolutely,
hidden cameras.
if you're gonna put a stamp on something, absolutely, I would want to. I think that should be disclosed. But the discussions, I don't think that should be something that's to public.
I'm just saying, college football is a cash cow, and they will do anything to make the money that they want. Why would they not go that route? Think of the extra millions that people would pay for ESPN Plus subscriptions to tune into that.
Hey, have you, John? You're coaching like baseball, softball now. With like, have you been in draft rooms? Like, you guys do
Oh yeah,
drafts for your league, right?
occasionally, yeah.
There's some pretty inappropriate conversations that you don't necessarily want put out to the world, right?
True.
Well,
True.
Right?
True.
listen,
Tell me
I
I'm
am an
wrong.
uplifting guy. I've never said a bad thing about a
Yeah,
kid.
okay, yeah, okay. Good answer, John.
He's
Good
a
answer. I
he's a
appreciate it.
liar
That
of that
confirms
being
my
said, yes.
No,
statement.
honestly, I never have. I never have. I think the worst thing I've ever said is, I wouldn't have chose him there,
Yeah,
but
okay.
good for us.
Yeah.
Like
Once
I think
again,
that was it.
He's
But
trying. He's keeping it family friendly,
yeah,
Danny. But
I
we
get
I'm
know.
it.
trying
We
to.
I
know.
get it. I get it.
I'm
I
trying
just,
to.
We know.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to.
So I don't know. I don't think I would want to be in that room. Like I don't want to have
No,
anything to do with it, because then you're trying to sway it one way or the other when they're already swayed as it is. It's like,
yeah,
just let them do their job. Like, it's just the
Yep.
NCAA tournament thing with basketball. We know that they're trying to push out mid majors. Like, that's why they're trying to expand it so they get 500 teams in power conferences that are 500,
team.
not even close
Yep.
to winning their conference, right? So it's the same thing here. They want as many SEC teams as they can get. They want as many Big Ten teams as they can get, because those are just the two best conferences in the eyes of ESPN, in the eyes of the committees and stuff like that. And until somebody beats those teams in the national championship, like a Big 12 team beating them or an ACC team beating them, that's going to be the narrative: is this is the best conference because this is where the champions are coming from. So that's a non-factor right there until somebody beats them.
And it's a revolving door of committee members, right? Like, it's not the same committee members that were there last year, right? Like, there's a different chair, there's a different set of committee members, right? Like, you have I didn't know Mike Riley was on the the committee, old Oregon State.
You-
Well, it's not a perfect science either. Like, we can sit here and say
no.
we have to look at this or that or that. It's not a perfect science.
BCS tried that. The
control
BCS
your own
tried it with
destiny.
computers.
Yeah. Control your own
But-
destiny, do your thing, win your games, and you
Win
won't have a
football
problem.
You can tell that a lot of the ESPN analysts and stuff, that their minds are blown. Like, they don't know what to properly say to try to prop back up the ACC. And
Yeah.
there's a very realistic trajectory that they just continue to self-inflict against each other in that conference. Like, who is it? Virginia was 14. They still have to. They have kind of a cupcake schedule here, but they've got their rivalry game at the end of the year versus Virginia Tech, which if they were to lose, that would just create
It's the
havoc.
it's the
Louisville
next step of the downfall of the big conferences. ACC is the next one that's going to drop. That the Big 12, or excuse me, that the
Pac-12
Big
already did.
10, just like the Pac-12, right? So
Yeah.
they're going to get absorbed by the SEC and the Big 10, and we're approaching the total college football realignment, which I think needs to happen drastically, and it's going to be separate from the rest of the college sports.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for this weekend. Excited for the Cougars to go show what they can do in Lubbock. A lot of fun interactions with the fans with Texas Tech this week on Twitter. Unlike the rivalry in state with Utah, where it was just like
That's dirty.
World War III
I'll be honest.
between fans.
That's dirty. Yeah,
It's
I
bad.
didn't expect it. It was, I've seen some rivalry stuff, but that was cool. And it'd be nice to see it again. I mean, are you going to Arlington, John, if there's a rematch or what?
I want to go to Arlington if BYU makes it. So regardless
Especially
of
if
the
it's
opponent,
Utah. Especially if it's Utah.
especially if it's Utah, 100%, 100%. And I will not wear blue or I will not wear red for a month if that happens. Like up until after that game, as soon as the season's over, however long, I will not wear red ever.
Ever.
But like this week, it's been extremely fun watching the interactions between Texas Tech and BYU fans on Twitter. I've engaged a little bit more in this one because it's a little bit more polite and not trying to like go for the jugular. In fact, there's a lot of like funny interactions and stuff. One guy went on to kind of make fun of the mountains and they're not that pretty. They're just the result of tectonic plates and whatever. You guys suck. And you could tell that he was like sarcastic and it was
Such a
funny. And
nerd response.
well, I'll send you guys the link and you can read through it 'cause I interacted with it. And there was some back and forth banter about how mountains have never started a single combustion engine. And I was like, well, I kind of beg to differ. The slopes of those mountains have helped push start a car or two, and it's been fun. But I don't know. I'm excited for this weekend. I think I don't remember if BYU's ever had a top 10 matchup like this. I know we faced top 10 teams, but we've never been ranked in the top 10 and played a top
dual
10
top
team.
10 matchup. Yeah, I know it's going to be an exciting weekend of college football. We're getting into the nitty gritty now, right? Next 3-4 games, that's what it all matters. We've been talking about this for a month, right? Talking about what the rankings, who deserves to be where, so on and so forth. But now it boils down to just you got to win football games. You win the next 3-4 games, whatever on your schedule, and you should be right there at the end.
Well, and it's such a big game this week in particular that there are already students camped out.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah,
since yesterday.
I was listening to that earlier. That's wild.
Like that's awesome. That just shows you like that. I'm not gonna say that like those in the SEC and the Big Ten they don't appreciate these moments, but like for a school like Texas Tech that just 20, 30 years ago was kind of irrelevant.
So they had Patrick Mahomes, dude, not too long ago.
But that was more than 30 years ago. Okay. Patrick Mahomes was like what 8 years ago. I'm talking like before, like in the 1900s, buddy.
In the 1900s, yeah.
Well, late 19.
How much you know about the 1900s, John?
I was there. I experienced it. Okay. I'm a 20th century kid. But no, it's like it means a lot to our schools to have this, to be in the limelight and stuff. And like, I was excited for the state of Utah last week to have College Game Day there, and now to have College Game Day back to back for the Big 12. That's huge for the conference, and I didn't think it was going to happen. So,
it's always
I'm
exciting
excited.
for the small conference. Like I said, dude, I go back
The small
from the
conference.
the
The
Pac-10
irrelevant conference. Yeah.
yeah, the irrelevant, yeah, packed in for forever, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, no, it's always cool, and that's why I've had to soak up these game days and big noon kickoffs because they don't come out here this often, right? So
Nope.
that's great to see, all these college campuses getting involved, and it's glad to see those networks engaging with those and not just sticking out at your Florida State, your Oklahoma, your Texases. You're coming out to these smaller campuses, which is great for college football.
Yeah, it is. Well, Kyle, I know we're getting coming up on an hour and stuff, but
We're at
kind
50
of haven't
minutes.
talked about the elephant in the room.
What's the elephant in the room?
Kind of a big thing this week.
Who cares?
Exciting,
Who
eventful.
cares? Dodgers suck.
Caused lack of sleep.
It didn't cause lack of sleep. Shut up. It did not.
Are you
cause
kidding
lack
me? Did you not stay up and watch the whole game?
I did, but that didn't cause
Game
me to
two?
lose sleep.
The game ended at 1:15 in the morning.
It still didn't cause me to lose any sleep, dog. Which game are we talking about?
Game two. I'm just saying, like, if you appreciated the game of baseball, you should have been up watching that game.
I watched game 7 and I watched game 6. What am I missing here?
Do you not watch the 18 inning game 2?
No, I went to bed. I checked it when I woke up at midnight. It was still going, so I went back
Watched
to bed.
it all, John. Watched every inning of the World Series this year, by the way.
Anyways,
I'm just saying.
Talk about that game and not talk about the fact that the Dodgers won for the second year.
I'm talking about the series in whole.
We don't
was
care
amazing.
about the whole series.
Don't we?
Series, whatever. Fine.
Game 7. Hey, as a baseball fan, dude, like, first of all, this World Series gave us pretty much everything. Game 7 pretty much capped it off, man. Like, I mean, it's everything you ask for in a World Series. It sucks that it's
highs and lows and heartbreak, but elation,
everything, man. Everything, dude. Like, I mean, and just weird kind of stuff that had never happened before. Pinch hit home runs. Like Rojas's home run in the ninth was just bizarre. Like everybody was like, "Are you kidding me right now? Like, what happened?" Like, the Blue Jays. You got a pinch runner on third, and you got a secondary lead 1.5 steps off the bag. That cost them the World Series, dude. Like, honestly, that was the difference in the game, man. I saw it from the beginning. I'm like, dude, why is that not? Didn't no way he grounded out to him.
There were constant times in that series where, what are we doing as base runners?
Yeah,
there multiple times you have full count, 2 outs, and runners aren't moving on the pitch.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And there was a couple times where they luckily got there safe, but like you're talking about that plate, he should have been safe.
He slid feet first, dude. Like, are you kidding me? Now, first of all, you got that stupid ass oven mitt on your hand, right? Like, that's so you can slide head first. And if you're a good base runner, which you're supposed to be because you're the gosh dang pinch runner, like, you're going in full tilt, head first. I'm going to win the World Series. That's got to be the mentality in your head, and that wasn't. And
the only time you slide first there is to break up the double play, but there wasn't a double play option.
That's the ball game.
Because Will Smith was outstretched trying to catch the ball, and you didn't slide into him at all. What are you like? You
never do that at home. You don't slide like that in home. You slide to a base to break up some stuff, like you're saying. But you're going into home, dude. You're trying to hit that front corner of that fucking plate. Excuse me, sorry. That front corner of the plate as quickly as possible. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry. They'll get used to it.
Yeah. No, and to have, I mean, the thing that blew me away was throughout the World Series, like, defensively was amazing. I mean, constant like heads up play from one game to the next. And pitching was ridiculous. That being said, the thing that I learned most about from the World Series was how awful a lot of batters are, especially on the Dodgers side. The lack of adjustments that they were making to pitching. How many times did we see them falling across the plate, swinging at a slider, sweeper, cutter, whatever they put up on the screen? because they were sitting in the back of the box, off the plate, looking for a fastball and trying not to get jammed up on it. And how many strikeouts did we see in multiple games? How many weak fly balls did we see? But then,
So
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No. So the answer to that, John, is I mean, that's not how major league hitters adjust, right? Like
Yeah.
little league hitters, they adjust by moving up and back in the box and things like that. Major league hitters, they set up in the box where it's comfortable. What they adjust on is the grip on the bat, how they handle the bat, where their approach is with their front arm and things like that. Like Pete Rose does a great explanation about
Well,
making
that's
adjustments in the box.
and that in the video you're referring to, it's actually, he says the complete opposite. He says if you're struggling, he's like, you're in the pros. You got there because of how you're swinging.
Right,
The only adjustments you should make is, do you choke up on the bat? Do you choke down on the bat? Do you
right,
move up in the box, back in the box, in or out? That's it. You don't try to dip your shoulder more. You don't
sure,
try to do this or that.
sure,
And I didn't see that happening. Now,
right,
granted, I
right.
guess luckily we got a few home runs, like Miguel Rojas's lunging out over the plate home
Such
run
a
to left
terrible
field.
swing, such a terrible swing, and made great contact.
Yeah, like it's like I had to tell my players at practice today. I was like, guys, I know that that was a game tying home run, but that's not how you should swing normally. He's a 10 times stronger than you guys, and they're throwing 10 times faster than your pitchers are. So when you make solid contact, it's gonna fly. But like, happy, elated that we won back to back. Hopefully we can run it back another year. But Yamamoto is a stud. Otani was a
Well
stud
deserved.
at times.
Well deserved.
Yeah, it's just it's fun.
Yamamoto's hands down MVP. Yeah, that was a great performance for
Yeah.
sure. But
So
we got to do something about deferred contracts because you can't have $1 billion in salary and just let everybody get away with that. So
yeah, I get it.
Hey, I rooted for the
But
Dodgers.
here's the thing: we're not the only team doing that, though. Like, and that's
I'm not saying they are. I'm not saying they are, but that's a problem.
yeah.
That definitely is a problem.
I would love to see something done with that. There needs to be limitations. I'm not saying it shouldn't be done, because I think, especially what players are demanding to play the game now, for a lot of organizations, it doesn't make sense to try to not defer some of that. But the amount that the Dodgers have done and a number
Yeah,
of other teams have done, it needs to get cleaned up,
yeah.
100%. But I saw plenty of people online be like, "Oh well, the Dodgers bought their World Series." It's like the Blue Jays were fifth. We're fifth in payroll at $274 million a year. Like,
You got to spend money to make money, man.
yeah,
That's
like
just the way of the game.
it. But when it comes down to it, when you're on the field, it's the heart, and that's one thing that I will say that this World Series did immaculately. Complete night and day difference between last year and this year is the heart of both teams. Like, you had the Blue Jays, who were probably the better team offensively for pretty much the whole World Series. And they were playing for themselves, they were playing for a nation, and that was awesome to see. Sucks to see them lose, but you have also a band of brothers in LA that, like, they've been
USA, baby.
yeah, I mean, like, we were playing for a country too, and it was just fun to see. And I love that the viewership, like, the discussion I saw online was, hey, when do we like bring baseball back as the second favorite sport in the nation? Like, because we've surpassed the NBA finals viewership tremendously. So I don't know. I'll let we can have that discussion another day, because I know Kyle's pissed because we're not talking about Cubs
No,
baseball
I'm
because they
not. I'm
suck.
not pissed with what you guys are talking about. I had some tickets to the. I bought some tickets to the. To the.
Oh yeah, I did too. I had tickets to that.
The
It was
National
really good.
Finals Rodeo. I had some tickets that I was going to resell, right? And I found this page on Facebook that is all about reselling them. Sell, buy, sell, exchange, whatever. And, I had to verify that I was a legit seller, that I was legit. I wasn't a scammer or anything like that. So I could post them.
Yeah.
And on this Facebook page, there's no disclaimer about any seller's fees, right? There's like a third
got robbed.
There's like a third party that is determining who is legit sellers or verified sellers and stuff like that. And so I went through them, did the process like they said on their page. This is who you have to go through to get verified, and showed them my StubHub, that I had the tickets, in my StubHub, right, and verified all that, and sold my tickets tonight easily, right? Somebody bought them up, and then this same person that I had to verify through comes back and says, "Are you ready to pay the fee?" I was like, "What fee?" Well, there's a seller's fee. And I'm like, I could read my messages back and forth with this person, and it comes up, it says, "Are you ready to pay the fee? Your name will be added to the coming list," which is the verified sellers list, right? I was like, "Fee, what was that disclosed in a Facebook post on the page?" I don't know if it's a she or he, whatever. They're like, "There's a seller fee. Everyone pay after successfully selling." And I'm like, "Is that posted somewhere?" I'm looking through things on the page. I'm not seeing a disclaimer about that. And they're like, "Did you see posts you need to add verified seller before selling?" I was like, "Yes, but there was nothing about a seller's fee on that post." I have the screenshot.
Yeah.
So is that Eddie from Las Vegas, dude? That sounds kind of like that. Kind of sounds like that deal.
Yeah. So I asked this. I said, "Yes, but there's nothing about a seller's fee on that post." Then I asked, "What is the fee?" Or I should ask, "How much is the fee?" And they come back with this: "If you're not willing to do it, you can leave the group easily." And then they replied to my, where I said there's nothing about that in the post. It says, "Same way you don't know about that, you will be selling with no approval." Like, what? You have nothing on the page. You have screenshots of the page, like their privacy, their about, and the post about where you have to get verified. And there's nothing about a seller's fee. So, like, I sold these tickets there was 4 of them. I sold them for $200 each, $800, right? So I'm like, "What is the fee?" And I asked them, because I'm sure they're going to come back and say, "Well, it's 10% of what you sold your tickets for, probably," or something like that. And I'm going to leave the group. I'm not going to get back in there. I would raise a stink with Facebook, because that's some BS. It's sketch again, right? Like, it's crazy sketch. And I told him, I was like, "You don't have a disclaimer in the group about a seller's fee." I asked how much the fee is, and instead of being professional, you get aggressive. I told him, "I'll be leaving the group, but you should have a disclaimer in a post pinned at the top of the page or in the about section about a seller's fee, because there's nothing on the page about it."
Yeah.
So that's what I've been dealing with while you guys were talking, is another sketch story dealing with something in Las Vegas on the same weekend that we were there last year and had that issue with the Airbnb.
Weird.
How do we know that we actually have hotel rooms next weekend in Mesquite?
It's not Las Vegas. Well, that's a valid question.
Because Kyle finds the most sketchy.
Listen to this
garbage.
Well, I see it's not your fault. Everything I asked you wasn't listed in the group, and you never sound weird. So why all of a sudden? It does sound like Eddie. It literally sounds like Eddie.
It sounds like Eddie. And what was the chick's name?
I sold my tickets. I'm done. I don't need you anymore. So,
no. Where's Jordan's AirPods? That's all I want to know. And we got to talk some smack about Damien while we're on here, because he's going to watch this tomorrow. Probably bug us. Hey, when's it?
Probably got to finish soon, because my camera is probably going to heat up and go out again. So we probably got to talk crap about Damien if we're going to talk it, and then we need to end it, because
horns
down. Yeah. I don't care. Hook 'em horn. In fact, I kind of hope Texas goes through and just ruins everybody else's SEC year.
Well, hey,
hook 'em horns.
We've talked a lot about college football. Just jump in. Hey, we got the Dickie V Classic, man. I mean, you want to jump into college basketball? I love college basketball. Actually, that's my favorite basketball. I love the NCAA tournament, college basketball. I'm all about it, dude. So I'm excited to get into that with you guys.
You don't want me to rave about college basketball right now, because I'm pretty upset about some things. John,
well, I just like getting into it.
Actually,
And
I
what
haven't
I'm
seen any
trying,
of your posts on Twitter.
so Dickie V, man, like I like Dickie
Yeah.
V. So he's on the downhill slide. He's only got a few more years. He's much like Lee Corso in college football. So yeah, it's good. I want to get into some good college basketball as the season goes on.
Yeah. So my big thing with college basketball, I hate games against non-Division I opponents. I absolutely hate them because they don't count for anything in the Ken Palm or the net or any metric that goes into a resume, right? They do not count. They're like a glorified exhibition game. Utah Valley played tonight against a non-Division I team, right? And they just listen, I'm not done. I got to rant about this, okay? They won
Rant
by
about it, and then I'm going to bring up some news
81
afterwards.
points. They won by 81 points. What does that do for it? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't prove anything. Boise State lost to non-Division I last night.
I was going to say.
Who'd they play?
Yeah.
But watch, Boise State plays Utah Valley on Saturday, and watch, Boise State beat Utah Valley.
So who did Utah Valley beat by 80?
West Coast Baptist.
Do they have connections within the universities?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. That's my only question. I have no idea.
Last night.
Kyle,
right?
I have the same
What makes
the same
me mad
take.
about this is Utah State played a non-Division I opponent last night, right, in Logan. Beat them pretty bad. I can't remember what the final score was. Why the hell, excuse my language here, why the hell could Utah State not play Utah Valley this season when they both played two non-Division I teams on back-to-back nights? Like, what are we doing?
Same reason Alabama plays Akron State.
That's
right.
That was my rant. That was going to be is I think that should be eliminated from college football. FCS, FBS, get rid of it.
That should be gone. There should not be any FCS games, especially
realignment
last week of the season. But it just makes me so mad when I see I saw Utah State, Boise State played one, and Boise State or Utah Valley are playing, which is cool. But I saw our old friends at New Mexico State. They played a non-Division I tonight. I've seen more mid-majors play non-Division I's in the past 2 days. Why aren't they playing each other? That's what makes me mad about all of this. I get everybody wants a home game, so schedule a home and home series with a mid-major opponent, or like get a trifecta going where one team goes here, and everybody gets a home game at least. Like, that's what makes me so mad about college basketball. Like, I've been ranting about this for the past 2 days, and like, I didn't even go to the Utah Valley game tonight because it's like I didn't want to sit there and watch an 81-point practice. Basically, that's all it was.
Yeah,
against the team. That's all it was.
So where are they at in their season? This is
they just started. The season just started.
How many games do they play?
31 regular season games.
Counting this game?
Yeah, this game counts. They're 1-0.
That's fun. So basically, So all of that is like you said, it's a scrimmage. Yeah, it's not a game that a fan wants to go to, but that's kind of how you get yourself into the season. It's not like playing an FCS school, the week before rivalry weekend in college football.
This is their validation for it. One, it gives them a home game, and two, it gets them an opportunity to play a team that's not themselves, right? So I get that, but it's like you've had secret scrimmages, you've had an exhibition game already. Why do you need to play this game? Why can't you work it out to it makes me so mad, Danny. This is what makes me mad, the most mad about it. Utah State plays Non-D1, Utah Valley plays Non-D1, but Utah Valley and Utah State don't play each other. Why?
And they're an hour and a half from each other.
You should have led with that.
Well, that's where it started from.
Kyle's not good. Kyle likes to start from the back end.
Non-Division I basketball games, period, when it comes to Division I teams. I hate it.
I get you. Yeah, no, 100%, man. I agree with that 1,000%, especially if it fits locationally speaking, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny is all these coaches that I've talked to, at times they're saying, well, we're trying to fill out our schedule. We're trying to do, and like I talk to other coaches, they're like, we're trying to fill out our schedule too. Well, why don't you guys call each other and say, let's figure out a time that we can play. Like,
hey, maybe the ADs, were, banging each other's wives or something. Weird stuff happens in college sports.
oh, it's so bad.
Ooh,
So bad. Oh, good times.
Yeah.
wow.
We've gone almost an hour and 10 minutes. That is a long time.
Hey, hey, subscribers, everybody watching to this point. I know you were getting disappointed that Kyle hadn't mentioned the exact amount of time that we had been filming thus far, but he just took care of you there. Got it.
69 minutes. At
That
least
we should have like a checkbox
at
somewhere
least it
down.
wasn't 6-7.
here.
I mean, I could say that. It wasn't 6.
Oh, stop.
The other thing. I can't believe that. Tonight, I was at the Utah Valley broadcast when me and Coop were out doing, hanging out and doing things while Heather was at Young Women's. But the Utah Valley radio guy said something about a 6'7" forward, and Cooper's like 6'7", 6'7". Oh yeah, 6'7". Like,
it's so stupid. Nobody even knows what that means.
I know it.
Hey,
He doesn't
Kyle.
know what it means.
Kyle, real quick question. What were the? So I know the Blue Jays won the first game of the World Series. Dodgers won the second and third, and then I think the Blue Jays won the next two. So what were the last two games that the Dodgers won?
I'm not saying
Game
a word.
6-7.
Good job, John. Good job.
Wow.
Hey,
wow.
John, you ready to ball out next weekend, dude?
Dude, I am ready to take a bunch of ibuprofen, and I got Icy Hot and BioFreeze.
BioFreeze, that's the way to go. I got like
ready to
3 of
go.
those things in my bag, dude. Yeah,
Speaking of
I'm gonna go
that,
get those Shaquille O'Neal like lower back pad, like patches
Icy,
and
the
stuff.
patches, like the Shaq patches, like the one
Mhm.
that Shaq puts on the commercials. Yeah,
speaking of
absolutely.
that, so
But
they
his
got
are just gonna be across my whole entire back, Just
we got 25 D teams for Mesquite next weekend, and they are not running an open division anymore because they only had 4 teams.
Oh, then all those fucking
No,
all those guys are gonna come down and play.
no. Apparently, I was told when I asked, I was like, those open teams aren't going to be put in D that signed up. And I was like, not scared to play them, but you know how it is. And the response was absolutely not. Division cancel and teams being told, sorry, no spot for you guys. That's it. So
That's fine. Those teams are
players
gonna
are gonna-
play. Yeah, no, absolutely.
they have the divisions, they have you turn in a roster, but I don't think they're checking those at all unless
So-
you check somebody
Yeah,
yourself.
let me give you a little insight about how I mean
I'm going down for the golf, for the buffets.
do they still do buffets? I don't know if
There's
that's still
one
a
buffet
thing.
at the Virgin River, yeah. I don't know if there's one over at Casablanca, but at the Virgin River, yes, there is one.
Okay.
Dude, or
It's pretty good, Danny. It's actually pretty good.
Kyle, if there's enough time, like if let's just say hypothetically we play early,
We're not
on
going to
Friday?
Vegas, John. Stop it.
we could.
We're not
Where?
going to
We
Vegas.
could drive
John.
to Vegas and go to like the Excalibur Knights of the Round
we're not
Table.
No, that's not even that's nowhere
Wait,
in the
the
cards.
reason
We're
we're
in
playing
ghetto
in
Vegas,
Mesquite-
dude. We're in Mesquite.
Yeah, the
I
reason we're
understand
playing
that, but
in
we could
Mesquite
drive there.
is so we can completely avoid Vegas. We've already had a bad
Yes.
experience there last year. We
Yeah,
want to
Eddie.
stay in Mesquite, period. That's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna
You don't
tear
want
up Mesquite,
content,
John.
then
Hey,
just stay in Mesquite.
John, just bring your seatbelt and hold on, dude. We're gonna
you
tear it
know
up
when
in
you
Mesquite,
do that?
son.
Is that the same? Oh, it's not the same weekend. It's the weekend after. So there's a bunch of Montana State Bobcat fans that get together at this little bar and just hang out because that's the rivalry weekend when they play Montana. But it's the Saturday after we're there.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been
Dang.
cool, but
Hey,
anyways,
but are we gonna be able to get like some sports bets in? Maybe like a little 5-6 game parlay bet for college football.
Yeah.
you're gonna lose. It doesn't matter.
And we better record some stuff while we're down there too.
Yeah, so
Well, that's
everybody,
the
listen
plan.
up. The next episode we're going to have next week is going to come out on Wednesday because we're going to record on Tuesday night again, and we're going to come out on Wednesday, and then we're going to have a podcast episode. Maybe we'll do it Thursday night from the Virgin River
That's the
Hotel,
best.
and maybe we'll do it a live stream. I don't know. We'll see what we can do. It depends on the Wi-Fi because the Wi-Fi usually dictates how good the live stream comes through.
Yeah.
But everybody, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button, share your thoughts. We need comments. That's what we want. We want comments, feedback from you guys. on these podcast episodes because we're having a lot of fun debating things. We're gonna. I feel like the viral video is coming of John and his little prediction of Utah and BYU playing 3 times this year. Yeah, right.
Listen. I am a content creating machine. You haven't seen me out on a softball field.
Can't wait.
Content that I will make.
You can't see him because he's about that big on the softball field.
Well, you don't point your camera to where I'll be playing anyways, so like.
Just get everybody else's knees, and you should catch a face shot,
dude. I will nod an ankle, man. It'll be fun.
With that said, we appreciate you tuning in to this episode of the No Sauce Podcast. We'll see you on
Kyle and John and Danny
and this other dude.
He always like and subscribe.
I'm gonna end it. So good night.
We're not ending it. We're not ending it. We're gonna keep going.
Evening or like and subscribe, or wherever you're going from this episode. We love you. And we'll see you on the next episode.